Alrighty, welcome back to 5.3N. This is example 1, question I, the final video in the lecture series for complex number operations for my Algebra 2 class. So in this example, we have I plus I squared in parentheses minus I cubed plus I to the fourth. Well, as before, whenever we have our parentheses, we do need to take care of those. So let's distribute the positive 1 through. That's going to keep that as an I. And remember, this I squared, what are we going to turn it to? That is correct. We're going to make that a negative 1. So this just simply becomes I minus 1. Okay, then we have this negative 1 distributed through. That's just going to change the sign of each of these i's here. So this just becomes minus I cubed minus I to the fourth. Well, we need to do something with the I cubed first. So let's just rewrite the minus I cubed part of it over here. So I'm going to go a different color. Let's go minus I cubed. Well, that's just negative 1 times I squared plus 1. Okay, now the I squared plus 1 part of it, well, that's just negative 1 times negative 1 times I. That's what the I squared plus 1 is. I squared is the negative 1, and then we have another I here. Okay, now negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So our final, when we say negative I cubed, we're going to be able to rewrite that as plus I. So I minus 1 plus I. Okay, now let's figure out how to handle the minus I to the fourth. There we go. And minus I to the fourth, well, that, just like before, that's just negative 1 times I to the fourth, which is just negative 1 times I squared plus 2, which is just negative 1 times I squared times I squared. Okay, and we'll take that just one more final step for this piece. This becomes negative 1 times I squared squared. And just like before, here I have a I squared, so that's just going to become negative 1. So we're taking negative 1 times negative 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is just 1, so the whole thing becomes negative 1. So we have minus I to the fourth just simply becomes minus 1. Okay, now like parts, just like before, we have the minus 1 all together now. Say it with me, that is minus 2. So we have minus 2, and then we have the I plus another I, and say that with me, that is going to be plus 2I. So the final example, or the final question for example 1 is negative 2 plus 2I, with negative 2 being the real part, 2I being the imaginary part.